Oh,
We lost Jean.
Jean
No.
left
Oh
us,
no.
but
Yeah.
maybe she'll be coming back soon.
We're live. We're hoping that Jean will return. She is also in her car, as is Jada. We're here with hopefully the two of them to chat about the 4-week challenge. These were some of the top participants, and I don't mean top like they did anything exemplary, but they were in there every day. Oh, I mean, not to
I mean, they
downplay.
did great. They did do
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. Not to downplay the exemplary, but
Whatever.
they were in there contributing every day, posting about what they were doing, and so we wanted to bring them on and chat with them about some things that they learned, some habits that they put in place, and what they're kind of doing going forward, and how we can do some bigger and better things all together. And so maybe Jean will pop back in. She was dropping off one of her kids at something. Yeah, and then driving home. So it did sound like she was driving over some rumble pads. So we got some words together. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
I am good. I actually got strep throat today, so that was fun. I got that a month ago at the beginning of the challenge, and as we finished it, I got it at the end too. So it's been a fun day.
Your body was like,
Nice.
take it easy here, let him finish the 4 weeks, and then ruin his day. Yeah, nice.
We're here. It's been fun.
Yeah. So one thing, Jada, that I thought was really cool, and you didn't even know that this was coming, I don't think, is early on when we had just put the 30 minutes of exercise in place, you were posting that you were doing it with your dad a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And it was like like, Jada, did you get a peek behind what we were doing, or are you just a savant, or what was that? So how was that for you, being able to? I mean, is that something that you typically are doing, or was this kind of a new venture for you?
No, yeah, it's I hang out with my parents and my family a lot. So I just appreciated like the challenge because it made me more like, instead of okay, let's just hang out, Dad, it's like, hey, let's juggle the soccer ball, or like just nudge it a little more. Jean's back.
Yeah.
How you doing, Jean?
Good. They wanted me to download the app. They wouldn't display it anymore. So I'm back. I'm back. Okay. I'm in business.
That was a quick download.
Right? I know. I was like, come on, hurry up.
So I don't know if you had noticed during the challenge, but Jada was doing a lot of her exercise with her father. And so I was just asking her about that, if that was something that she normally does. And you cut us off, Jean. No, I'm just kidding. It was a blessing that you cut us off. But yeah, are you able to pick back up kind of where you were at, Jada, with that?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely hang out with my dad a lot, and we do a lot of active things. But since it was summer, I was kind of slowing down. So it's kind of nice to have this challenge that kind of reminded me. So I go to his house in the mornings, and I didn't have time, or I wouldn't make time to exercise and stuff. So I'm like, all right, you're getting on this with me, Dad. So it was great.
I'm sure he liked that. Is he normally a walker, or was he just like, oh, I'm getting to spend quality time?
No, yeah, he definitely, he's somebody that has, when he puts the discipline into it, he can get really in shape, where I'm like, I'm younger than him and I can't even catch up. But he's in one of those like phases where he's not as much. So when I'm the one that kind of brings it up, he's like, oh yeah, okay, cool, I'm down.
That's what so I've been really focused on our business. We've been putting these pieces together to start buying and holding properties. And this was maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago that I'm realizing, man, I've been putting, like you just said with your dad, I've been in this little dip. Mm-hmm. And so that's what kind of spurred, I was being selfish, really. Like when I went to Zach, how can we do something to where I'm going to get accountability from you and hopefully from other people? And Jean looks like she maybe muted herself and is talking. Jean's like,
I'm parking.
Okay. Because something that Jean did early on that I noticed, not with her dad, but with her daughters. was incorporated them into the exercise. And I think your daughter's in like softball or something like that. And so she's training,
Yep.
For being
Nice.
a good team member. So how was that? Is that something that you're normally doing, or was this kind of a new?
This is new for her to come to the gym with me, which I was very grateful that softball encouraged her to get into the gym more often. She's an athletic kid. She's naturally athletic. My husband's really good. When we go to the pool, he plays catch with them both nonstop at the pool. Like he's constantly trying to get them hand-eye, savvy. But for her to just want to go for a run or lift weights doesn't come natural for her. And I've always encouraged her to come with me. And she's always been like, yeah, okay, maybe. So softball definitely gave her the motivation that she needed to join me. So it helps. It helps when we have this motivation.
Yeah, that's something that, we've talked about inside the group a lot, right? Just having all these other people, even behind the scenes that we don't even necessarily hear from, that are holding us accountable. That was a blessing for me. How was it for you, Zach? I know you're really into fitness and CrossFit and all that stuff already. Triathlon, mini triathlon.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice having extra accountability, because even though the fitness portion and the water portion for me was kind of already there pretty consistently, there are still definitely days that I come across where it's like, God, I really just, like, it was super hot here the last couple of weeks. And it's like, I just really don't even want to go outside to get to the gym, let alone do anything else. So on those days, knowing that, all right, I'm going to have to write a post on what I did. I really don't want to write that I didn't do anything for no reason other than I just didn't feel like it. So even though those habits are pretty well ingrained in me, that accountability certainly still helped. And then kind of like Daniel and Jada, both of you said, some of the stuff was kind of dipping, like building this business up and kind of really focusing a lot of time on that. The family focused portion of it was definitely lacking a little bit more. So it's okay, how can I either integrate these things, or how can I just say, you know what, the business stuff doesn't really matter. I don't have the family stuff, so let's focus on that. So for me, that was the more difficult portion of the challenge, was to just spend the time with the family and making sure it's present time, not just time with the family, but present time. And I think you would put it nicely as like, put your phone away, put it down, and just enjoy the time. So for me, that was the biggest thing that I can take away from the challenge.
Yeah, I didn't say that. You said that early on, I think, when you posted.
I don't know. We're one on this. We're one in the creation of it.
Yeah, something that came up in the Growth Co meeting last night, and you'll have to imagine it if you haven't seen this video, but there's a bucket or a jar or whatever, and we have these big important items, right? Our health and our business and our family time, and those should go in the bucket first, right? And if they don't go in the bucket first, then all the little things that happen throughout the day, checking our email, maybe watching Netflix, all the little things will go in there, and then I won't be able to fit the bigger items, the really important things in there. So I love that you said that about, like, maybe the business today isn't the important thing because I didn't have the quality time with my kids and my wife, right? Talking on the phone with my parents or taking a walk with my dad. And like, we need to make sure that those big important things, those like real life things, are getting into the bucket first. That way all the little things don't get in the way. So yeah, for me, that was a big one. The exercise is easy in a sense, right? I get a lot of that done before the kids even wake up, and I do get a lot of time with my family and kids, but I don't have it here, but like, my phone is always dinging and ringing, and I'm like, I want to go check it out. No, this is family time. And so I think, you mentioned it in a post early on, the no phone, being intentional about it. And so, we didn't want to make this super long. I appreciate both of you going on. What maybe did you learn about habits and like time blocking? That was something big for me through this 4 weeks. And what's kind of, are you bringing and carrying on forward now that we're out of this 4-week challenge? Let's start with Gene this time.
Yeah.
So it's interesting for me. I feel like the health and the fitness and the water, and the family time, those I think are easier for me. It's committing the time and time blocking for the business that I'm building has been a real challenge, and continues to be a challenge. I'm somebody who really needs to get better about time blocking, and so I think maybe I should create some kind of challenge around that. But I also know that that's coming in the course that I'm in. I'm not always the most patient person, so I know that that's coming. So it helped me realize that I do need to be more intentional about my business time and how I'm utilizing that business time, because I do get easily distracted. I'll start one thing and be like, oh, there's a reminder of this other thing I need to do. I should work on that. And then, oh, the phone rings and I'll work on that. And like,
Yep.
time blocking is something that I do need to definitely get down and master.
Yeah, you know what has? Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you
real
go.
quick.
Yeah.
You know what has helped me is I use the Harvard Time Box. It's really nice because it has, so it's like, imagine this is a paper, and the top right hand side of the paper has 3 top priorities, and then the thing below it has like a brain dump, and then next to it is like your whole day, and it's like a schedule going in 30-minute increments. That has helped me a ton because I also get like that as well. I have what's it called, like things that'll come up when I'm not trying to do the certain things. Like I'm not trying to take calls right now. I'm just trying to work on like a video or whatever that may be. And so when I do the Harvard Time Box method was great. What's great about that is that I can just write down everything in the brain dump, everything that I need to do. And then I can, from there, I scan my brain, and I do this the night before of like what I need to do the next day, so that I can like really, really take the time to be like, okay, this is everything that I need to get done, and then pick the top 3 priorities from there. And then even before that, at the end / beginning of the weeks, I read this in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but you want to not just do like, okay, daily to-dos, and kind of like time block it there. You want to make sure that you're taking time at least once a week to prep what the week is going to look like, so that you know the needle moving tasks, or the needle moving things to move your business forward. So just my 2 cents real quick.
Oh no, that's great. I love it. I appreciate that. The time blocking technique was Harvard, like the school.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. I haven't heard of that. It sounds a lot like what we're, kind of using in, from the Growth Co. kind of techniques.
Probably.
Yeah, I'd love to look into that. I wanted to ask Jean. We know. I don't know if Jada does, but we know kind of what you're working on. Would you let everybody else know? What it is you're working on, what maybe actions you're doing on a daily basis that would go into that time blocking?
So I'm in the Growth Co, where I'm basically learning the steps to build a business, a real estate investing business, and putting all of the key pieces in place to be up and running quickly. So I'm working on finding private money lenders, building relationships with those people. I am interviewing operations managers. So I've got resumes coming in that I'm reviewing, and I'm scheduling interviews with those people. I'm networking with wholesalers to get leads for real estate coming in. And then working on some other skill sets around, underwriting and things like that will come into play with the business.
Zach's underwriting on Fridays at 3 p.m.
That's right. That's right.
We were just talking yesterday about some underwriting.
Were you? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So And I think so. You highlighted a lot of great stuff, right? Obviously, we're hiring an operations manager. Right? You need money, and then you need deals, right? So you're working on those three components. So for like the time blocking stuff, right? What are those three? Even if it's just half hours, right? I don't know how much time you have, and you're still having a W-2, right? So you're still fitting that in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, time blocking is an issue, especially if you have a W-2, but it's looking at how much time do I have, right? Obviously, we have that 8 hours for the W-2. Now, what are the 3 half hours, or if you have 3 hours, the hour that you can spend doing each one of those things? So, you said 3, maybe even 4 things, but that you're working on. So how can we time block those each and every day?
Right.
While still keeping in mind that you have a family and all the
Right.
yeah.
Then you have
Fitness
another hour for family
Yeah.
and another hour for workouts.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. So, and it's, do I wake up earlier than I used to wake up, or do I go to bed a little bit later than maybe I'm used to? It's making those adjustments as needed to put everything that's needed into the business that I'm building.
Yeah. And I think it's important too to recognize what you're willing to sacrifice and not willing to sacrifice, and what that may result in. Allison said it's a delicate balance, and it's totally right? Like, you don't want to spend too much time. All right, if I wake up an hour earlier, what's that going to do to my rest of my day? Is it going to take away from my energy and take away from when I'm spending time with the family? And just figuring out that, right? What Nathaniel's doing, what I'm doing, and what you're doing are going to be 3 completely separate things. So just figuring out what's right for you. And that's what was nice about this challenge, was that it was vague enough that you could kind of pick whatever exercise you want. You could pick whatever business or networking thing that you wanted to do. So letting it fit within whatever your lifestyle is.
Right. There were a lot of like late night walks with my husband where, I was also walking with him, but teach to learn, and kind of walking through what happened that day, what I was able to accomplish, what he's struggling with at work, and, incorporating that family time. Like it's nice. It's nice to be able to figure out ways to get multiple areas covered.
Yeah. I love it. There's something that, I've thought about over my career, especially since the kids have come into my life, is that, I can build a fantastic business, but if I don't take the time to spend with them 20 years from now, when I'm, have $1 million in a business and all these things, and we have all and my kids don't know me, it's like, what the heck was the point? Right. So yeah, it makes me a little teary-eyed, but it seems like we lost Jada. So she was like frozen for a little bit. I was like, she hasn't blinked in a while. So, Zach, what are you kind of out of this, taking and pushing forward?
Yeah, I think just focusing on kind of what Gene is focusing on the time blocking, and not necessarily around business tasks. Like, I will around that for sure, but definitely family time, and making sure that I start saying no to more things. Like, I only have a limited window, especially after work. And sometimes I say yes to something because maybe it is a good opportunity, or maybe it's something I don't necessarily need to jump on. But I think just learning to say no a little bit more, to prioritize being there for dinner and bedtime as much as possible with the family. Obviously, sacrifices have to be made every now and then, but just being a little more mindful of what I'm saying yes to and what I need to say no to make sure I split that time as needed for the business and for my family.
Yeah, I love that. I'm a person that wants to help a lot, and so people will reach out to me and say, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And I always want to say yes, but I gotta do a better job. Brittany tells me that a lot. Like, hey, you're stretching yourself thin sometimes with taking on another half an hour call here and there. And, hey, thanks. Welcome back, Jada. Yeah, you were frozen for a minute. I forgot how I posed it to Gene.
What's the biggest, or what's your takeaway from the challenge?
Yeah, that's right. I wanted to also ask Jada, what are you kind of working on? I know you've got a lot of things going.
Yes.
What are you working on in the business right now?
I'm definitely dwindling it down because that's what a lot of people have told me. They're like, you're doing everything that I don't want to bug you. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Please do. So really, I'm mainly doing two things, but mainly doing one. So my team and I are buyers, especially in Texas, and we're also private money lending, especially in Texas, but we go outside as well. So my whole goal is to be able to work and collaborate with people to provide opportunities that they wouldn't normally have if they didn't have other people's money available. So if people are trying to get into flips, or people are trying to get into some sort of creative buy and hold, or maybe they want to do a sober living or pad split, all these things, if we can manage it, I want to collaborate to make sure that I can bring the funds to them, or at least a majority of them, so that they can start doing all these wonderful things. So I would say that's the main thing that I'm doing.
I love it. And what are you kind of looking to keep in place from these 4 weeks going forward?
So I was thinking about this, and although I do spend a lot of time, I think I spend time, maybe not a lot, but I spend time with my family. But I noticed that when I'm traveling, I get really caught up in work and really caught up in traveling. And actually, thinking about it now, when I'm home, I'm also really caught up with work. It's great that I love it, that it's caught up in a good way. But I definitely am putting on my schedule now, like family time. I can't just, I'll see my parents like when I'm done with work, because sometimes I'm done and then I go to sleep. So that was like the biggest thing that I got from it, realizing that I'm not really spending as much time and as much quality time as I want. So I'm going to schedule it in. And I think I forgot who said this. Oh, actually, okay, yes, I remember. So throughout the last week, I was reading and I finished the book The Compound Effect, which is amazing. And I hope anybody who's watching this, if you haven't read it, or if you have, read it again, because it's so good. And I think in the book as well, he does mention that you should like pencil in family time, or like quality time. Like a lot of people give importance to a lot of different aspects in their life, and a lot of it is like work and business and stuff. And you kind of, like what we were saying in the beginning, you kind of leave your family and like the relationships that you really care about on the wayside. And I don't necessarily know why. I think it's just maybe it kind of feels like, oh, it'll always be there. And I realized that we're mortal, so it won't. So that was just a big thing that I really appreciated.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad that you both were a part of this. And everybody else that was out there and that was a part of it, we appreciate you as well. Like Zach said, and I've said a handful of times, even though maybe you weren't active and we weren't seeing you all the time, we knew that you were out there, and it held me accountable at least a handful of times where I was like, man, I'm not going to do my hit this morning, or I'm not going to go push myself on a run or something like that. I mean, it was 104 and 100% humidity on Sunday. I'm like, it's Sunday sprint day. I got to go do my sprint. So,
Right?
yeah. So I appreciate you both. Anybody out there that, maybe isn't a part of the group right now, it's Healthy Wealthy Family Through Real Estate. That's the name of our Facebook group that we're in. Come in there. We're putting habits in place around those 3 big items. They're big for us at least. And so we're trying to just learn and grow together and do better things. I mean, we're all in the same boat here. We're all just trying to do better for ourselves, do better for our families, and do better for our friends. So any parting words for Zach or Jada or Gene?
Yeah, I mean, I think just to add on to that, we finished our challenge, right? The 4 of us did it, and a handful of other people I think had jumped into it too. But in our group, I posted what the 4 items we were working on week by week was. So just because we're done, right, we're taking things forward ourselves, but just because we're done the challenge doesn't mean that you can't jump in and go it yourself, or bring somebody else with you, right? Come in a group, do the challenge, right? It's pinned up there at the top. So you can start that 28-day challenge, that 4-week challenge on your own. Post in the group still, hey, this is what I did, and so on, to hold yourself accountable. And if you're someone who doesn't want to post publicly in the group, that's totally cool too. You can message me, you can message Nathaniel, message anybody else, right? I mean, I would love for us to be able to help you, and I know the group is there to pull each other up as well. So if you're not somebody who wants to be out and open, at least in the beginning, I totally get it. I was there at one point too. So if you're going to do it on your own and you want somebody to hold you accountable, message us. Let us know what you're doing and how you're doing and how's it going, what are your struggles, what's working well, and all of that.
Yeah, there's over 200 people in the group now, so you got plenty of people to choose from.
Yay,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Nice.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would absolutely be an accountability partner for anybody who wanted some help to stay on track for the 30 days if they wanted to start that challenge now. So
Yeah, we have a
absolutely.
couple people that are a few days into it, so it's pretty cool to see people trickling in and going, hey, let's do this, let's learn some new habits. So I
Yeah.
appreciate both of you guys being here. I know, Gene, you're probably home at this point, and Jada, wherever the heck you're going. We look forward to continued growth together and keeping each other accountable.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to be an accountability partner too. So I just want to put that out there.
All right, Jada, let's do it.